Hello, you're listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized. I am your host, Janet M. Taylor, and I want to say hello if you're a regular listener and welcome if you're listening for the very first time. I hope you're having a great start to your week. In this episode, Sade Jones, she's a time management coach, and the name of her company is The Fire Inside, and she's going to share strategies to help us better manage our time. And of course, I will be sharing my product suggestion, app suggestion, and my repurpose suggestion, as well as my book suggestion for this week. And my question for you this week is, what challenges do you have with managing your time? Is it your calendar? Is it planning out enough time for tasks? What is it? So, according to the University of Birmingham, British archaeology experts have discovered what they believe to be the world's oldest calendar, created by hunter-gatherer societies and dating back to around 8,000 BC. So today it's all about time. So that's why I brought on Sade Jones, and she's the CEO and founder of The Fire Inside, where she provides time management, coaching, and content creation services. As a time management coach, she helps ambitious side hustlers and small business owners prioritize their passions, personal development, and wellness so they can become more organized and achieve their goals. She was born and raised in Queens, New York, and now resides in Atlanta, Georgia. Her mission is to empower people to take the time to pursue what sets their souls on fire. In her free time, she loves to exercise, spend time with loved ones, and travel. She has traveled to 28 countries and counting. So I would suggest that you get your pen, you get your pencil, and you sit back and listen to some nuggets that Sade Jones is going to drop. Hello, listeners. I am excited because, of course, I always think of May as the month for mothers. And one of the topics I really wanted to talk about is time, because I know a lot of you, single women, but also mothers and aunts and grandmothers, sometimes just have to figure out how to better manage your time, which is why I put a time management coach on, Sade Jones. So, Sade, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Jeanette. I'm very excited to be sharing some tips with your audience today.
So before we get started in the strategies and tips, what made you decide to become a time management coach?
Okay, so my stories will be similar to a lot of entrepreneurs where it was all over the place in the beginning and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So after I graduated college, I went straight into advertising because I was very interested in shifting the media and the culture in a way where we consume so many messages. And I had learned so much about that in marketing because I was a marketing major, that I thought that would be the way where I can shift people's lives. And that was a way I could be really impactful. I realized years in that it wasn't exactly as impactful as I thought it would be, and that I wasn't deeply motivated to stay in this career, which was devastating because I thought I would be there for years and retire there. But I decided then to start a blog called The Fire Inside. It was based off just honestly struggling as an adult. I just felt like I was struggling my personal development. I was struggling my wellness. I wasn't sure how to manage all the things I had going on because work was way more intense than school. And from there, after I established my blog, it started to grow. I started to get some traction. And on my blog, I was pretty much inspiring people to discover the fire inside them. So it was personal development, travel, wellness, all those different topics. Productivity was one. And then that kind of led me into doing brand partnerships, which led me to doing an e-commerce business. And quickly realized that e-commerce business, I lost a lot of money on inventory and products. And quickly realized that it was not for me. I learned a lot about business though. I sold products on Amazon, eBay, in person. So I learned a lot and I got used to being rejected. So that also was a good skill set that I learned there. And that kind of led me, and I was doing all of this while I was still working corporate. So this was about 3 years in that I started doing all these entrepreneurship ventures. So eventually I started doing networking events, and it came out of hosting events at work they saw that I was good at that. So I kind of shifted a little bit of my role. And I started also hosting events on my own in all over New York City. And through doing that, I realized I liked helping and serving people in person. So it was almost like I was doing life coaching sessions in person. So then I met a coach at one of my events, and she was a business coach, and she told me that I should be doing this full time, and that what am I still doing in corporate? And at first I was like, yeah, one day down the line I'll go into entrepreneurship. I didn't think it would be as soon as it was. After I met her, we chatted for a while. I signed up for her program, and I think it was like this was the beginning of 2020. So about 2 or 3 months in, I decided to just go full time and realize that I wanted to do life coaching, but I wanted to niche down because life coaching can be so broad. People don't know what they're going to get. But I knew that I could help people manage their lives, which brought the topic time management into play. And a lot of people don't even know what a time management coach is. And I'm sure, a lot of people don't know what an organizer does a lot of the times too. So I'm like, I'm basically just going to organize your life, and I'm going to take it from a holistic approach. I'm not going to just teach you how to be productive in your business, which is the type of time management coaches I've seen a lot. I can help you do that, but I also want to help you with your wellness, your relationships, time for yourself. I want to holistically show you that you can manage it all with the time that you have. Even though everyone tells us that we can't, we totally can. So that is my journey so far. And since then, I've been working with clients. I quit my corporate job in August of last year, and I've been able to sustain myself, and I'm loving what I'm doing so far.
Wow, that is great, Sade. So my question to you is, with everything that we have, we've got the apps, we've got the Google calendars, we've got the planners and all of that. What are we not doing when it comes to time management? Because I hear a lot, as I'm sure you have, working with clients and women, it's like, I can't get it
Mhm.
done. I don't have enough time and this, that, and the other. And they even have, the little cute little Apple watches and things like that. And I'm like, so what's really going on?
Yes, I will say that a lot of it, I mean, I'm sure you know this already. A lot of it is our mindsets. When you even say to yourself, "I don't have time," you're limiting your beliefs already. So you're approaching the day as, "I already don't have time. Oh, I woke up and I'm already frustrated. Or I want to snooze 3 times already." Like you know that you're just waking up with this defeated attitude in the first place. I want everyone to know that we all have the same 24 hours, and how we spend it is exactly how we get more done. So if you take the 24-hour day and you spend about 8 of it sleeping, you only have 16 hours. And I think people overestimate what they can get done in just 16 hours. You can get so much done in a month, in a year, in a couple months, but in one single day, don't over I think people just overestimate what they can get done. If they're not overestimating, they're not planning at all. So I work with a lot of people who in the beginning are like, I wake up and I go with the flow, and I do what feels good next. And unless they have someone they have to log into, or like if they have a job they have to log into, they're not doing much throughout the day. They're kind of just going with the flow, and then at the end of the day they're realizing why they're not satisfied. They're like, what did I do today? Yeah, you probably didn't do much because you didn't plan it at all. And what happens to people who do plan, sometimes they don't connect it to what they actually want. So sometimes we think just being busy and answering 25 emails in an hour is so amazing, but did any of those emails actually move the needle in your business or in your career? Like, was it anything impactful? Did you get into a deep focused task today? Those are the things that are going to really make you feel like you're living life and being fulfilled.
Wow, that is so good, especially when you talked about, and I try to tell people that too. Like, we all have 24 hours. Every last one of us, because it's a quote that says, yeah, even Beyonce has 24 hours. Now, of course, she's probably got assistants and all that kind of stuff,
Yes.
but still, we all have the 24 hours. And then also in the planning, because recently, Sade, what I had to do is, I'm good at scheduling, I'm good at making lists. But what I realized is I had to go back to a physical planner. That was one of the things I'm like, oh no, I don't want that thing. And I know why I stopped using it, because years ago I got tired of carrying it around. But because
Hmm.
I've been working virtually for over a year, it's like I don't have to carry it around. I could just keep it at my desk. So that was one of the things that I found for myself. But yeah, you're right. People, like you said, they wake up and they go with the flow. And I'm like, I can't do that. But that's just probably the organizer in me. I just like, I can't do that. So what should we be doing? I mean, people are always saying, like you said, we all have 24 hours. So what should women be doing to really kind of really maximize that time and just feel like they're getting stuff done, but not feeling overwhelmed because they're looking at that long to-do list of 30 items, which they shouldn't have in a day, but that's just my opinion.
I agree with that. 30 items is way too much. So I will say the first thing is you have to get very clear on what you actually want to achieve on a daily basis. So I'll give you all, I'm going to share my framework for creating a winning schedule, I like to call it. And what it is exactly is you start off with a brain dump. So if anyone out there doesn't know what a brain dump is, it is you just getting everything out of your head onto a sheet of paper. So I start there every week. I like to plan for a month. I think some people get overwhelmed by that. So if you want to plan on a weekly basis, I also like to fine tune every week. So if you're planning on a weekly basis, that's a good way to get a week at a glance. So what you would do is get a sheet of paper, and I'm going old school, just like Janet said, going back to the planner, get on a sheet of paper. You can use a Word doc, but I think starting off, get a sheet of paper. Write the dates of the week that are coming up. I do my planning on Sunday. A lot of people like to plan on Sunday. Get everything down that you want to accomplish for that week. After you have that down, then you want to go in and make sure that the tasks on that are categorized. You want to make sure it's categorized by whatever your categories are. Mine are just personal business. That's the two categories I have. Some people have other things like, maybe your family, your kids, your work, whatever it is. You can get very detailed on your categories. That's going to differ per person. After you have it categorized, you want to go ahead and compare that list to your list of goals. And I want to stop right here. If you don't have a list of goals in the first place, you need to get that done. And I know some people know what they want 5 years from now. They know what they want 10 years. I see that's very common. People are like, oh, down the line, I want to do this. What are those immediate goals in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, in the next 9 months, in the next 12 months that are going to get you to those 5-10 year goals? I think people like to dream, but they don't like to plan to actually achieve the dream. So after you have the brain dump list, you want to check it against your goal list. Once those are aligned, you're already in a good spot because you're actually looking at and making sure the tasks align with what you really want to achieve, that you're passionate about achieving. After you have that done, the next thing is to prioritize. So people struggle with prioritization. That's why they don't get what they actually want to get done, because they just do whatever comes up, whatever fires are going for the day is what they typically get done instead of the things that are actually important to them. So what I always say when it comes to prioritization is you want to make sure that the tasks you're choosing to do first are the ones that are important. Important meaning that they're tied to your long-term goals, they mean something to you, and then the tasks that are also urgent, meaning they have some type of deadline or you created a deadline for them. And the deadline I would say to use for a week is just something that has to get done in the next 7 days. So there may be something you feel you want to get done in 7 days because you're more passionate about that thing or you feel like it's more fun. But does it really need to get done in the next 7 days, or can you plan that out for a couple of weeks out? So after you have your priorities selected, those you're going to go back onto that list and you're going to circle them. You're going to make sure you know which ones you're selecting, which ones make the most sense. The next step is actually scheduling into your calendar. So I like to use a combination of a calendar and a physical planner. Why? What I've seen consistently across all my, and I mostly work with women. So a lot of them, we have a lot going on in our minds all the time. So what the calendar helps with is the reminders. So when you put it onto like a digital calendar, like Google Calendar is one that I like, you can set as many reminders as you want. If you need to know a day before, 2 days before, an hour before, 15 minutes before, you can set all the reminders that you know when you need to get that task done. Another great thing about the calendar is you can get a glance at what are the things you're accomplishing for today. And I think it's really important to be present. When you look at Tuesday, you just look at Tuesday and you see what is going on Tuesday. And you have everything broken out into times. And another thing people will notice once they put it on the calendar is that you don't have that much time blocks. That's what they're called, pretty much, blocks of time. You don't have that many in a day. So you really have to narrow down your priorities. For most people, it's going to be 1 or 2 big things or 3 to 5 maybe smaller things that take them about an hour. And that's probably it for the day, because you have to cook, you gotta eat, you gotta cook for other people, you gotta spend time with your kids, maybe like you gotta spend time with your spouse or significant other. There's so many different things, and time with yourself. And there's so many exercising. I can go on and on. There's so many different times blocks that you have already have to do. There's not so much time for deep work outside of that, or catching up on emails and things like that. So that will help you to create a good structure. Now, what I use the physical planner to do is to take what's in the calendar and just have a written list that I check off. I really like my physical planner because it's kind of like gives me the satisfaction. I can't. I don't know why I'm saying that. You know what I'm trying to say. It helps satisfy me, like I would like. I think a lot of people like to check things off versus on a calendar you can't get that done. So the last step is just to get it into your planner, and at the end of the day, you want to make sure you check off all the things you got accomplished. And if something didn't get accomplished, you just move it over to the next day. I think that's another thing that people beat themselves up about all of the time. Oh, I didn't get this done. I planned it. I did all this work to get it done, but it didn't finish. You can always move it. You can always adapt your schedule. Life is always going to happen, and no one gets it perfect. Even as a time management coach, I do not get it perfect. And it's something I explain to my clients all the time because they're so hard on themselves and they're their hardest critic. So you just want to make sure that you're moving it over to another day. You're not just completely forgetting about it. So I would say those are the best tips when it comes to just scheduling in general. I can go into some tips about how to limit distractions if you want, but let me know.
Ah, I mean, those were a lot of nuggets. I mean, I was just sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I can listen to this over again because it was like there's so many notes. I mean, you talked about the planning, and that's one of the things I do one day a week. Probably for me, sometimes it's like Friday or maybe Saturday morning. I write down my plan for the next week. But then also, you were talking about how you have to have goals, and one of my goals is to have a healthier life, which means that I have to make sure that I have to do my meal planning on Saturday, where I get in the kitchen and I schedule time and I just make all my meals, put them aside, and then all week long, I'm not eating junk. I'm eating something that's healthy. So those were good. I mean, you were just giving so many good tips, Sade. I was just like,
Oh,
okay, all right, here we go. I'm like, wait a minute. So in all that you do for your clients, how do you how do you stay organized? How do you balance your life? And I know part of that is planning, but are there any other things that you do as well?
outside of planning, I make sure I have systems in place. So for all of my clients, I keep my folder. I have a whole folder system in Google Drive, so I have each of my clients' names. I have the months I'm working with them. I have everything that I need to know about them. I keep detailed notes. I record meetings with clients, and I have it all in their own folders. So I know, hey, all right, I'm working with Janet today. I know what she's been up to. I know the status of the activity she's doing. I know her progress so far. I know her goals or where she's trying to go. It's all in a folder. Outside of that, they also have their own portals. So I use Dubsado, which is a system for client management. And I have client portals for my clients that they can log in and see their own progress as well. So I have my own internal organization, but then I also have an external one where they can view their progress, where they're going. I think that keeps me super organized. Obviously, planning my week every week and making sure I have a system when I have certain days where I'm prepping for each client is very important. But having organized folders and systems where everything is going to help you, because if you don't know what's going on with your clients, it's going to show. And that goes for any type of business. You want to make sure everything is organized and everything is together per person or per program or per product that you're working on.
So, Sade, how can listeners get in contact with you to work with you and to, just really kind of attend what if you have webinars or things like that, because you have so much information to provide.
Yes. So if people would love to stay in contact with me, the first place I would say you need to find me is on Instagram. That is where I'm most active on my stories and on my feed. I post about every day talking about productivity and wellness, and personal development in general. So my Instagram is Sade Jones underscore. That's SADE Jones underscore. And my website is thefireinsidesade.com. On there, you will find my services, more about me, testimonials, any of my digital products that I'm selling, or any of my freebies are all there as well. But I really would really want to urge people to join my email list. It's the Fire Insiders email list, and that's where I share all of my secret nuggets that not doesn't always go on Instagram. So if you really want some exclusive tips from personal development, productivity, and wellness, I would say join my email list.
And of course, listeners, I will have a direct link to Sade's website so you can join and sign up for that email list. Well, Sade, thank you so much. And listeners, you need to listen to this again and then also just share it with a friend. So, Sade, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Like this show and want to make your own? Let me tell you about Anchor. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now you can even add any song from Spotify directly to your episode. The possibilities are endless for what you can create, whether it's music analysis, your own radio show, or something the world's never heard before. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So was that an informative conversation I had with Sade? I mean, she gave you a lot of strategies you can use to better plan your time for your life. So I hope you listen to this episode over again, as well as share it with others that you know can benefit from the conversation I had with Sade. So now I'm going to transition to Taylor's tip time. And that is just planning some things for your life. And I'm kind of going to piggyback off of a lot of things that Sade said. But the first thing is, and this is something I do, schedule time once a week to plan. So I usually take either Thursday or Fridays, but you can take a Saturday or Sunday, whatever day works for you. And remember, she said your goals. What are your goals? I write down what I need to accomplish during the week, whether it's laundry, meal planning, shopping for food, but also the things I need to do in business as well. Maybe I need to prep for a webinar I'm doing, or pull together some resources for a client. So write down your goals. Number 3, schedule task accordingly. That means taking the task and putting it in your schedule, whether you do it on a Monday afternoon or Wednesday morning or Friday midday. Schedule those tasks and use the correct tools as well. We both use planners. That's something I got away from, but I realized I need it. So you may need a month at a glance. You may need your week at a glance. So what kind of tools are you using? And don't forget, in all of this planning, making sure you plan time for fun as well. Well, have you been working on getting organized and feel you need someone to guide you from start to finish by providing you with details needed to clear the clutter and get organized? Let's talk so I can share how you can get back on track and get organized with my virtual sessions. All you have to do is go to my webpage and schedule a 15-minute session with me, a free 15-minute session. And of course, I've also reduced my virtual sessions as well as the 30 and 60-minute sessions. And just so you'll know, with virtual organizing, a lot of times all I need to see is the space. Someone recently reached out to me, and because they're going to be working home more virtually now, that they needed to take a room and really transform it into an office. And just by seeing that space, I was like, okay, this is where the desk needs to go. Of course, you also want to have a day bed in there, making sure that you consider these dimensions for your day bed because of the size of the room. And we're going to use that closet and maximize that space in there, so you can also store clothes for your guests when it gets to that place where you can invite guests into your home, but also some supplies as well. And of course, for those of you who just need a little bit of help, just really some planning, just planning things out. And are you overwhelmed, feeling like you can't manage all this happening at work, in your business and your life? Then let me help you. And I work with clients so they can get things done without feeling stressed and burned out. And you help you create the life you want, so you can have time to do all the things you want to do without feeling overwhelmed. So make sure you click that link for Strategize and Organize in the show page. Well, of course, I want to thank you for following me on social media, for your likes, your retweets, for your sharing. Please continue to share. And of course, please, check out my Pinterest page. And I have a board specifically for time management. It's called All About Time. So make sure you check that out as well. And then, of course, you know what day it is and what is tomorrow. I can hear you chanting all across the country and around the globe. It is Toss It Tuesday time. And this time, I want you to just clear the clutter off of your bulletin board. Maybe at the beginning of the year, you posted things and events and information that you really wanted to keep track of. Well, we're now almost 6 months in. So, take time to just get rid of that clutter there, that visual clutter. My app suggestion for you this week is Focus Keeper. It helps you keep your productivity high and avoid burnout using a timer. And because making sure time works with you and not against you, it's Focus Keeper is my app suggestion for this week. And of course, my Amazon shop suggestion, my product suggestion for this week is, of course, the weekly dry erase calendar. I have one on my refrigerator because I wanted to be at a place where I didn't always have to pick up my phone just so I can see what my schedule was. So that's a great thing, especially if you want to create a command center in your home. Making sure you check out the repurpose section on my Pinterest page of all the different ways you can repurpose items in your home and in your life. And of course, my book selection for you this week is Done. Prioritize, plan, and perform to accomplish your goals. Again, Done. Prioritize, plan, and perform to accomplish your goals. And my quote for you this week is, one always has time enough if one will apply it well. As Sade and I shared, we all have 24 hours in a day, so you just have to apply it well. So one always has enough time if one applies it well. Well, of course, I want to thank you for listening, and be sure to share this podcast with your family, your friends, and on your social media network. And please visit my website at www.janetmtaylor.com. Until next time, I want you to have a clutter-free day. But most of all, I want you to have an organized week. Organization is a quintessential element of a clutter-free life. Join me as we take this journey together. Along the way, we will find the necessary answers to your organizing dilemma. My name is Janet M. Taylor, and you were tuned in to Got Clutter, Get Organized.